Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your QBL round 14 game of the week between the Southern District Spartans and the Sunshine Coast Phoenix. My name is Regan Baker, and as always in the commentary booth, I am joined by John Guana. And John, what an amazing game we're going to have here in front of us this afternoon. Finals implications for both teams. We've got 4th and 5th on the ladder. They're tied with 4 and against, so massive implications in the game here, and what a good game it's going to be.
It's going to be an amazing game, Regan. This is probably the biggest game of the season for either of these two teams. This game will go a long way to going to see who will host a final in a couple weeks' time. As you said, they're equal in win-loss column. Point differential at the moment favors the Spartans, so they're sitting in 4th. But the Phoenix hold a victory over the Spartans already this season, so they come into this one with a lot of confidence. It's going to be a great matchup. And like you said, finals implication, it pretty much is a finals game here this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Last time the teams did come together, it was a 101-81 point win to the Sunshine Coast Phoenix. The Spartans team has come a long way since then. That was a round 9 clash, so about 5 weeks ago. They were still getting used to having the new imports coming into their team. They were still trying to, find their identity as a group with those 2 new imports coming in. So it really is anyone's game here this afternoon. And last time the teams clashed, Nat Hurst for the Sunshine Coast Phoenix came away with a massive 28 points, and Caitlin Clancy with 22 as well. So they did an amazing job out on the field. And you had like Ash Tyre from the districts coming down with 19 points as well. So, I mean, it was a really good clash last time. Who knows what's going to happen here this afternoon, but either way, the game is going to be incredible one way or another.
It's going to be. There are a lot of interesting matchups on the court. When you talk about defending the Sunshine Coast Phoenix, the 2 keys, as everyone knows, is Nat Hurst and Abby Bishop. The Spartans didn't do a good job shutting down those 2 players. Well, actually, they did a pretty decent job, but Caitlin Clancy, like you said, was able to step up and really help the Phoenix get that victory. But it doesn't matter. You still have to shut down Hurst and Bishop, so it's going to be a tall ask for the Spartans. However, I do think Spartans are playing some of their best basketball of the season heading into the finals. This is exactly where they want to be. They are such a deep team that they're going to pose the Phoenix a lot of problems as well in their own right. I think it's going to be how Phoenix can control the depth of the Spartans this afternoon. It really is a toss-up. These 2 teams are quite evenly matched. I would slightly favor Spartans because they're on their home court, but also for that depth that they have, they're able to throw a little more at the Phoenix as opposed to Phoenix attacking the Spartans.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to agree with you on that as well. I think Southern Districts may get themselves up by a couple of points in the game this afternoon, if anything, purely because they're not coming out on fresh legs today as well. They obviously had a game last night against the Toowoomba Mountaineers where they dropped 124 points, winning by 74. So they've had a game this weekend. They're warmed up. They're ready to roll. It is Phoenix's first game of the weekend. So it really could go either way. I am going to favour Southern Districts, but only by a margin. But Phoenix are going to take everything to them, and they're really going to have to stop some of those big Spartans players if they're going to try and keep themselves competitive through the 4 quarters. As we see the tip-off straight away won by the Sunshine Coast Phoenix, so they're going to get to attack the basket first and try and get some points on nice and early.
And I just think Spartans they've been super impressive the times that we've seen them this season. They're a well-oiled machine. They run great offense. And they're talented across all 5 starters. And then you look at their bench, they have starting quality players coming off the bench as well. So I just have been really impressed with Spartans. And you see Beck Haynes, the captain. That's what she does. We mentioned it last weekend when we covered them versus Caps. But that's a layup for Beck Haynes, that short baseline jump shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, Phoenix has come out with a great start as well. They got the triple to begin with as well. Nat Hurst just getting a layup there as well. So both teams coming straight out of the gate. They're all 100% shooting at the moment. So both teams doing a really good job. There's a bit of a loose pass there from Beck Haynes. So Phoenix coming down with the steal.
And I think turnovers could play a really big part of the game today. I think both of these teams are pretty capable of capitalizing off of the opposition turnover. And I think if you can control the offense and control the ball, you'll be in good stead to win today's game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a great move there on the inside from Georgia Berry as well. Just that nice little fake step around to the side to take the layup and draw the foul as well. So great move there from Berry, and she's going to go to the line for a couple of shots.
pretty fast-paced start to this game, and I like it. I think both teams coming out aggressive here early to start the game. No one's holding back, which is great.
And they're going to have to be aggressive. As we said, this is a massive clash-up, probably the biggest game of the season for both teams with those finals implications. They're going to have to come out aggressive. They're going to have to play a fast-paced game of ball. And so far, that's exactly what we've seen. I can't imagine it's going to slow down too much throughout. So we see Nat Hurst getting herself in a great position there to get the steal.
And Nat Hurst coming off a Player of the Week award. And you see Bishop stepping out, taking the long two. It's off. But Nat Hurst was huge last week. I swear, I watched that game. I don't know if she missed a shot.
Oh, she definitely had one of the best shooting percentages we've seen all season, that's for sure. As we see Aja Parham dropping a big three. Sorry, that's Anderson for Southern Districts, dropping the three bomb.
Yeah, Anderson's been one of the more impressive imports in the league this season.
So a missed inside layup there from Bishop for the Phoenix. You don't see those often coming out of Abby Bishop. She's normally an absolute gun in the key. Almost another turnover there for Spartans. The long shot there is slightly off by a tire. And a foul going against the Southern District Spartans as well. So Phoenix going to come down with the ball. The foul getting called against Anderson.
They're just battling for the rebound there. Got a bit of Abby Bishop's wrist. And foul call, I don't mind that call. A little over-aggressive from Anderson. She's got to be careful. She's the real key to this Spartans group. She's super talented. She can shoot the ball from outside and inside. She's multi-talented. So, and Spartans like and do rely on her for points. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Abby Bishop just trying to go to the bucket, just a little bit over-aggressive on the jump shot, going a little bit too strong over the top. Again, not often you see those from Bishop, but great positioning there. And I always love seeing that from a defensive player as well, having that arm out. It's the way that I was taught to play defense when I was younger, and it's paid off as, well, not quite with the missed layup there, but great defensive move from Bishop, just getting in that passing lane. She didn't even realize the ball hit her, but it did.
Well, 3 turnovers here early. It's really un-Spartans-like. They're very good with the ball. And it's not really anything aggressive defensively from the Phoenix. It's just been a bit sloppy start here from Spartans.
Yeah, and like you said, John, I think this game really is going to come down as we see a nice three-point shot there from Ash Tyre. The game is going to come down to turnovers and fouls. You know, that's going to play a big part in this game, and we've spoken about this weeks in a row in terms of turnovers leading to easy buckets in games that could have been a lot closer than what they ended up being. And, you know, you've got some big names on the floor that you really don't want to see fouled out, and that could have big implications as well if you get a player sitting on the bench within the first 2 quarters when they don't need to be.
Yeah, and that's a bit disappointing there for the Phoenix. Letting Bear get the defensive rebound and go coast to coast. Very lucky that she didn't finish the play, but it's a good take there from Romy Bear. And she's been a bit quiet when you look at the statistics, but she does a bit of everything for Spartans. She's had a pretty good season so far, and she's been a key to their resurgence towards the second half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. She's been having a great season. I mean, and I think that's the big thing as well. She kind of goes under the radar a little bit. I mean, she's averaging just over 10 points a game, but she does go very unnoticed. But she's a massive defensive player. Whether she gets the blocks or the rebounds or whatever it is, she's just such a big presence defensively on the inside, and she just wreaks havoc for players that are trying to go one-on-one with her on the inside. And that's the perfect example there, as she just plays a big defensive position on the inside, and Berry with a tough job to try and shoot over the top of her.
Yeah, Spartans doing a really good job of containing Hurst and Bishop. They're forcing the 3 other players on the Phoenix to take those shots and then just hustling on defense. So it was a slow start for Spartans, but they're slowly rounding into form here this afternoon.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough start, but now they're really starting to find their form as we see Beck Haynes with a nice little fadeaway jump shot there for 2. And there's going to be a foul call against the Sunshine Coast Phoenix as well, I believe. So Spartans are going to get the ball back. Yeah, so they're going to count the points. The foul's going to go against Saunders. So that's definitely gone in favor of Spartans, getting the 2-point bucket, and they're going to get the ball from the baseline as well.
Yeah, a few subs on the floor. So Curvan checks in for Spartans, and Clancy checks in for Saunders. Those ones hurt, though, Regan, when you give up a bucket like that, and that's just a foul off the ball as well. So. And then you see right there, Spartans capitalize it. Anderson with another 3-pointer. I mean,
and that was just a beautiful play as well. I mean, there wasn't too much more that Clancy could have done in front of that. She got in front, hands up, put on so much pressure. But Anderson is just a beautiful player to watch, and she just absolutely milked that and got the points for it.
Yeah, a bit slow there on the recognition. Berry didn't find Brown until it was a bit too late. Barry with a good job tipping the ball out of bounds.
So Phoenix bringing the ball in. Clancy with the fake three-point jump shot. And the ball goes inside. And that's a good offense there from the Phoenix. But again, just struggling to find the bottom of the net at the moment. They're getting good opportunities on the inside. We've just seen them go a little bit too aggressive, and a lot of their jump shots inside are just going over the top of the bucket. So I think they just need to settle themselves down. They know there's a lot on the line. They just need to play their own game of ball and just focus on getting the ball in the net.
Well, it was a good defense there. Bear and Curvan came over for the help defense. Now Phoenix only have 2 seconds on the shot clock, so it's going to have to be a quick entry and shot.
And that's exactly what it is as well with a turnaround jump shot. No good from Abby Bishop, but a good look with 2 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, she might have been able to wait another second or so, maybe half a second, give herself a bit of a better look, but she's got the height advantage out there. She'll shoot over anyone. As Aja Parham does the same on the other end. It's now 11 points of lead for Spartans.
Yeah, I think Phoenix are going to need to go to the bench and take a timeout shortly just to recoup themselves and bring things back in line. They're playing a good game of basketball at the moment. They're just not singing some points. So we're seeing Nat Hurst drain the three, and boy, did she make that look easy.
Yeah, that's really what Nat Hurst has been doing for a very long time. Hot shooting carries over from last week into this one. That was a deep three with a hand in the face.
Yeah, that's just how Nat Hurst plays basketball. If there's no hand in her face, she can't make the shot. She plays so well under pressure. So we see Ash Tyre going to the bucket on the inside, picking up the foul against Brown for the Phoenix. And timeout is called on the floor as well for the Sunshine Coast Phoenix. So there's a breakdown there. We're going to take a rest as well. But we'll be back with you shortly with more live QBL action presented by Nothing But Net Media. And welcome back to Southern Districts basketball as we bring you the QBL game of the week. It is 17-9. The Southern District Spartans finding themselves with a nice, healthy 8-point lead early on. And John, it's not necessarily anything that I think Phoenix have been doing wrong. I think Districts have just come out and they're firing on all cylinders. They're shooting really well from the field. They're 6 from 9 at 66%. They're just doing a really good job of taking the right shots and they're finding the net. I mean, the Phoenix, they've been playing good ball. They've taken 11 shots, but they're only shooting at 27%. So they're taking shots. They're just not managing to get them in.
Yeah, and Ashtea had that. It looked pretty flat, the jump shot, but it went through true. It was quite loud, actually. I've never heard a swish sound that way.
Yeah. Sounds like the basket's about to fall over. It's got a little bit of a rickety sound going on in it.
And look at Curvan trying to be physical with Bishop. I don't mind that. That's a good foul there by Curvan. But you see what Spartans are trying to do on Bishop. You see Aja Parham digging down to drop into that double team just to kind of get into the head of Bishop, I think. I'm surprised they're going for the shooting foul here. Yeah,
I find that a little bit surprising as well. I mean, in the referee's defense, I mean, Bishop wasn't going to do anything but back up to the basket and go for the layup. I don't believe she technically started the motion of going to the basket, but with the position that she was in, all she was ever going to do was, back into the basket and shoot. So unless that's a new rule that I've missed, I'm not too sure. But either way, she went to the basket. She made some points. It's now an 8-point ball game again.
And Phoenix come out in a bit of a zone here. Let's see, the Spartans picked apart the Brisbane Capital zone last week, and they've run a beautiful zone offense. And successful on that trip there with Parham.
Yeah, Parham shooting over the top of 3 Phoenix players on the inside. That was just a beautiful shot. Abby Bishop now going to the bucket again with the right-hand finger roll, asking for the foul on that one as well. Referees didn't give it to her, but that was a really nice passage of play from Bishop.
Yeah, she had to work for every inch of that one and able to finish.
Oh, and that's just lazy defense and recognition there from the Phoenix.
Yeah, it's miscommunication. It was a good fake there by Bear, and then she found herself wide open right at the rim.
Nat Hurst steps up to an unmarked deep three-point shot and hits nothing but the bottom of the net.
Yeah,
she makes that look too easy.
That one, you can see it coming, but there's really not much you can do. Once Nat Hurst's feeling it, you're in trouble.
Yeah, when Nat Hurst gets on a streak, she just goes all day long. So I think this could be the start of a Nat Hurst three-point shootout. She pulls up at the three-point line again, but hands off to Clancy, who finds Bishop on the inside. Hands back to Nat Hurst, who takes another long three, and again she hits nothing but net. Nat Hurst on a roll from the three-point line. The stats haven't updated in front of me, but I think that's 3 from 3 for Nat Hurst. And there's a timeout on the floor, so this time the Spartans taking a timeout is a 4-point ball game. So we'll be back with you shortly with more action from Nothing But Net Media. And back with you here. It's a 4-point ball game as we see the Southern District Spartans taking on the Sunshine Coast Phoenix. John, we were talking off the air before about districts wouldn't be happy with letting Nat Hurst take 3 from 3. They've clearly lost her in defense a little bit. What do you think districts are going to have to do to try and make sure that they don't let Nat Hurst go on a shooting streak?
Well, it's going to be one of those ones where they're just going to have to stick one player on her, and that's going to be it. Whether it's I doubt they're going to go to a zone because the way that she's shooting, she'll shoot right over the zone. I'd like to see, I think they'll just go, they'll face guard Nat Hurst with somebody. I would assume it's going to be Parham. And you see there is that matchup. But Parham will just stick to her like glue as best as she can and do the best that she can. You're not going to stop Nat Hurst from scoring every time. You want to make it tough as you can each and every possession.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's going to be the big key here for districts at the moment, because Nat Hurst is on fire. If they don't break that streak, she's going to rack up 30 points in this game. And I think Parham definitely has the defensive ability to mark up on Nat Hurst and really do a good job of stopping that streak. So as long as they've got a hand in her face and they don't lose track of her, I think they have what it takes to stop her from going on a 6 3-point shot roll.
Well, we can see right now both teams scrapping and going. This game is being played with finals intensity. I love it. It's been a great quarter of action from both teams. Phoenix started off pretty well. Spartans responded. Now Phoenix on a mini run to gamer runs, and there's Hurst wide open again, rattling another one home. She got picked. Parham got picked, and that's exactly what, there's not much you can do. It's a beautifully run set from the Phoenix.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's going to be a big key as well. The Phoenix have recognized that Parham is going to be facing up on Nat Hurst, so they've recognized that they're going to have to set those off-ball picks to get Nat Hurst free to take that 3-bomb because she's feeling it, and they're going to try and get her open as much as they possibly can.
And they'll use Bishop, they'll use some of these other players that are threats. You leave Clancy open.
And Clancy's going to drain it as well.
She did it in the first game against Spartans, and she hits her first three-pointer today to tie it up at 25. It's a nice run here from Phoenix.
Well, that's 5 3-point shots in a row with 100% accuracy. And make it 6 as Jess McDowell wide drains one for the districts as well. So that's 6 3-point shots in a row at 100%. I don't know if we've seen this kind of consistency from deep all season, John.
We definitely haven't. And there's the switch, and good job there from Hurst and Bishop. Bishop recognizing that she had the smaller Parham on her back, gets into deep position, and forces the foul. It's the 4th team foul on Spartans. That's Aja Parham's first personal.
And Aja Parham's going to check out as well as Anderson checks back into the game. While getting the ball passed from out of bounds. Big shout out to Coach Foster watching all the way up in Townsville. Always good having you tuning in and watching the stream. And as you've commented, it is a big game with big implications. And 3-point game, 40 seconds to go. The Phoenix, Nat Hurst, turnaround jump shot. She is feeling it. Hits again, nothing but net. It looks like, I don't think she's going to miss a game at this rate.
I don't think so either. She's on absolute fire. And at the moment, Spartans just don't have an answer for her defensively.
No, and it's not like she's taking completely open 3-point shots. There's normally a player within distance of her, but Hurst is just feeling it, and she's going to drain that all day. But again, as we come down the other end of the court, Anderson with a 3-point bomb of her own.
Anderson can do that. It's a 3-point shot. It's a 3-point shootout, I should say, here in Carina.
Yeah, absolutely is. And this is a very high-scoring quarter as Nat Hurst over the top of Jess McDowell-White with the fadeaway jump shot from the free throw line. We go into quarter point time, 31-30. This has to be one of the highest-scoring quarters of basketball we've seen all season, Johnny. And what a start it has been.
It's been a tremendous output here from Nat Hurst. She's been on absolute fire. It's been an as impressive performance. She hasn't missed a shot. She's got 19 points. She's 7 of 7 from the field, 5 of 5 from 3, yet her team is down 1, 31-30. What a first quarter of action. We got 3 more to go, Regan.
Yeah, it is going to be a very exciting 3 quarters of basketball if we're going to keep shooting like this out on the field. But that is the quarter time break, so we're going to take a rest. Definitely don't go anywhere because these are going to be 3 amazing quarters of basketball presented to you by Nothing But Net Media. And welcome back to QBL Game of the Week between the Southern District Spartans and the Sunshine Coast Phoenix. It has been an absolute shootout of a game so far, Johnny. The Phoenix shooting 100% from deep with Nat Hurst going 5 from 5 and Caitlin Clancy 1 from 1. But Southern District, not to be outdone, they've hit 5 3-point shots for 55% as well. So both teams, they're playing a deep game of basketball and they're proving that they've got what it takes to shoot from deep.
100%, Regan. It's been, I thought it was just Nat Hurst, but it's both teams coming out on fire from deep. Both teams shooting well over 50%. So you can't imagine that they'll be able to maintain that shooting percentage throughout 4 quarters, but they're going to give it a go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've given Nat Hurst a lot of credit shooting 5 from 5 from 3. But Anderson for the district, she shot 3 from 4. So, I mean, she's definitely someone to keep watch of on that 3-point line as well, because she's also proven that she can hit a long shot.
Yeah, well, I think, at the moment, the Spartans haven't been able to slow down Hurst, but credit to Spartans, they're sharing the love. They've got 6 players already on the score sheet, and they're being led by Ambrosia Anderson's 9 points, those 3 3-pointers.
There's a nice little offense there for Phoenix as they pass the ball around the outside. Found a cutting Clancy coming down.
That was a massive, massive block by Beck Haynes. And a bit of contact. I think Aja Parham, maybe she just got, I think she might have gotten Charlie horse or something in her quad, but she's going to walk it off and look like she's all right.
Yeah, I think she might have got corked as Clancy, after that big block, got a little bit of body contact and fell into Parham. So I think both players looking a little bit sore, but foul called on the field there for Beck Haynes. And they're going to put Abby Bishop back on the line for a couple more free throws.
Yeah, that's just the class of Abby Bishop there. You see her getting great position inside, using her footwork to step through and get the shot attempt up. She was fouled. She goes to the free throw line for 2 shots, but that's what Abby Bishop does. Recognizes that there is only one defender on her, so she's going to go at them and draws the foul.
And makes the Districts pay for it as well, because she goes 2 from 2 from the free throw line, so she's 100%, shooting 4 free throws so far, so she's having a great game on the inside. And she's going to keep doing that as well, because she's such a strong player on the inside. So she's going to keep driving in and trying to draw that contact on the inside to get herself to the bucket.
Well, Spartans are having to make a decision here. I'm assuming that they're going to double team Bishop. The last time down they didn't, and she made them pay. But they have to choose their double team wisely. You don't want to double off of Nat Hurst and leave her open from outside.
So there was a foul just before on the Phoenix going against Dusty Oba with number 88. There's one that I don't think I've ever seen in a game of basketball.
I haven't seen it in many sports. The only other 88 that I remember is I think Mario Lemieux from the Pittsburgh Penguins wore 88.
Oh, well,
That's an ice hockey reference for all you Australians. I know Mike St. Maurice up in Townsville knows what I'm talking about.
I was going to say, ice hockey is not exactly one of those sports I've seen a lot of. Another foul called on the field as well. I think this one's going to go against Bear. Beck Haynes not letting the referees call a foul to the bench, though, just having a bit of a chat first. But it is going to go against Bear, so Phoenix going to take the advantage of that contact. As we have subs on the field for both teams, so mixing things up a little bit.
Yeah, the conversation was Bear felt like Nat Hurst undercut her on that one. And she was absolutely shocked that she got called for the foul. But Nat Hurst draws the foul. Yeah, I mean,
veteran of the game. She knows how to get herself in position to draw the foul.
This game, though, Regan, 32-31. I mean, it's been a phenomenal first quarter of action. Probably one of the best ones that we've seen in our weekly coverage of the QBL. It's kind of slowed down a little bit in the first minute and a half. Referees looking to get a little more involved. And Bishop misses, but then Hurst going to fire a three. That's her first miss from deep.
Yeah, it was bound to happen sooner or later. She couldn't keep shooting at 100% from deep. But I think you're exactly right, John. The referees do want to get a little bit more involved because this is a very high-scoring game, a very fast-paced, high-contact game of ball. And they don't want to let this get out of control because it could get really messy and really nasty in the third or fourth quarter if they don't keep control of it. So I don't mind them reeling things in. I don't mind them reeling things in the second quarter because they just want to keep control of the game so nothing nasty happens.
Well, they certainly know that it's a high-impact game. This is going to be this one really, it's not going to be the end-all decider, but this is going to have a huge influence on which one of these teams finishes in the top four and has a home final. And we all know that having a home final is a huge advantage. You don't have to travel. You can stay in your normal daily routine. And then forcing teams to travel. But what could happen, Rick, is these teams could wind up meeting each other again in the first round of the final. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens with the result of this game and how it truly does impact the finals. But we won't know until the end of round 15 next weekend.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right, John, because realistically, the result of this game, these two teams very well could come up against each other in the quarterfinals or the semifinals, and it could be a very different game if it ends up being played at the Sunshine Coast versus being played here in Carina. So who knows, but it is an all-important game as we see Saunders take a deep three on the buzzer. Bishop coming down with the rebound and getting fouled on the putback as well. But as I was saying, John, the implications are huge because they could come up against each other in 2 weeks' time, and who has the home court advantage could be all important.
Oh, it definitely could be, and you can see just the physical nature of this game. Beck Haynes thought she was fouled from behind by Abby Bishop. They don't call it on Bishop, and then they call the next one against Bishop. So she goes to the free throw line for 2 shots, but these teams are battling it out every single possession. It's a huge, it's great to watch. It really is.
Yeah. Such huge implications that even the Sunshine Coast News has decided to pop on down and get some footage as well, Johnny. So
it's good.
It just goes to show how important this game is that even the local news coverage is coming down to check it out.
It's fantastic to see all the coverage that the QBL gets, not just from us, but the media really has jumped on board this season. You see up at the Sunshine Coast, way up in Townsville, Mackay, Rockhampton, Gladstone. Down here in Brisbane, we've got some localized coverage as well. So it's really nice to see the media coming out and supporting the state competition.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it's a one-point game, 33-34. The Phoenix have got themselves in the lead for, I think, almost the first time this game. So we see a deep three-point shot getting absolutely drained.
Yeah, Brown with another three. That's our second so far tonight. And now Phoenix starting to get a little breathing room on that lead. It's up to 4 now.
Yeah, Phoenix definitely coming back after an 11-point deficit early in the first quarter. But ever since that Nat Hurst three-point streak, the Phoenix as a whole have really come together with the team, and their offense has really been showing out on the floor. As Jess McDowell-White taking a very off-balance jump shot from inside the key.
Yeah, it's
somehow found the bottom of the net.
It's off the wrong foot, but she got it to fall. I think she was as surprised as anybody that it went down, but Spartans will take it. And Jess McDowell-White, you got to respect the jump shot, and she used that to her advantage on that one.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be pretty, just as long as it's effective. As we see Nat Hurst wide open for three again, and she goes back to her roots. She's 6 from 7 from deep.
That's just a wide open three-point shot. She took her time, got her feet set, and then drains it.
Beck Haynes on the other end. She fires a floater, no good on that occasion. Jess McDowell-White sneaking through the back door to pick up the rebound. She again drives baseline but turns it over. Brown in the right place at the right time to pick up the steal. And she's going to go coast to coast, kick off to Saunders, who's fouled as she hands off to Nat Hurst. And Hurst fires a jump shot for 2. So they take the lead up to 7 points. So the Phoenix really coming back in this second quarter to get themselves in the lead. There is a timeout on the floor, so we'll take one here as well. But again, don't go anywhere because this game is about to fire up. And back with you here, the QBL game of the week. It's a 7-point lead for the Sunshine Coast Phoenix. After coming back in the first quarter, they were down by 11, so they've had a big swing, really setting things on fire in that last part of the first quarter, and again in the second here.
It was a huge run here from the Phoenix to get themselves out to this lead, and Nat Hurst starting to heat up again after cooling off a little bit, but Spartans, the well is kind of dried up a little bit. I think they need to get Ambrosia Anderson back out there and get her involved in this game. She's been their most consistent scorer on the offensive end. As we see Taya fire the three. Beck Haynes, though, cleaning up the work.
Yeah, that was beautiful possession on the inside there from Haynes. She just got herself in the perfect position for that rebound, fought hard to get it, and a nice easy putback as well. And that's what the districts need to see a little bit more of on the inside. If they're going to take those big shots, they've got to have players there that are going to be able to get the rebounds. As Beck Haynes a little bit over-aggressive on the three-point shot there, so picks up the foul, and she's going to send Abby Bishop to the line for 3. And again, Bishop doing an amazing job to get herself on the free throw line because she's shooting really well from the free throw line as well. She's 6 from 6.
Well, she sure is, and Abby Bishop is 5 in this competition, so we quite often see her doing work in the paint, but you have to respect the three-point shot. Coming into tonight shooting just under 36% from 3, so you can't leave her open from deep. But that just adds to the overall game of Abby Bishop, able to do a little bit of everything on the offensive end and just great defensively. One thing that I don't think Abby Bishop gets a lot of credit for is her creativity. So she's averaging 6.5 assists per game as well on the season. So just does a really good job recognizing double teams and able to pass out of those double teams, but also really operates very well out of that high post with cutters cutting off of her or on the backside, weak side cuts. She's a great player, Abby Bishop. It's really nice to have her in this competition.
Oh, so we're going to see big contact down inside the keyway there. I think they're going to get the foul on the Sunshine Coast Phoenix. A little bit of an interesting situation, though, because there was even contact between Taya and Berry, but Berry's going to pick up the foul as Taya tried to come over the top of her position to get the ball. So District's going to end up with it on the baseline. So smart play there from the Southern Districts. And that three-point shot there from Taya, a little bit too aggressive, airballing it.
Yeah, she hasn't been able to really find her shot so far tonight, Ash Taya. She's 1 of 7 from the field.
And a travel there from Saunders. She just took that contact on the way down, didn't quite get the ball off in time before her feet touched the ground. So good defense there from the Spartans.
Yeah, it was excellent defense from Aja Parham. She contested the shot, left her feet, but went vertical and stayed vertical and forced the turnover.
Jess McDowell-White hits a very deep three of her own. She brings the game back to only a 5-point deficit for the Spartans.
And McDowell-White now with 8 points. She's 2 of 4 from 3. Be interesting to see. I know she's heading over to college. Hopefully she'll be around for finals. She's a huge weapon for Spartans off the bench.
Yeah, it's good to see her firing today because she had a bit of a quiet game last night against Toowoomba in that 124-point game. She only put 6 on the board, so it's good to see her coming out today nice and aggressive and starting to make a mark on this game.
Couldn't get that back-to-back 3 to fall. Taya still struggling a bit, only 1 of 8 now from the field.
Yeah, Taya definitely struggling from deep. She's taken a couple of three-point opportunities and hasn't been able to sink. She's only sunk 1 so far, She's 1 from 7 from deep. As Jess McDowell-White is handed a pass there from Saunders, and she goes coast to coast. Her inside layup, and no good though. Parham coming down with the rebound, a block from behind for Berry, and then a putback again for Berry.
Yeah, that's just good persistence there from Parham. It was a good recovery from Berry, but just Spartans had the momentum on that one. Able to follow up with 2 offensive rebounds, and a putback finally goes down.
Another three-point shot taken from the Phoenix. They're going to call a foul on the wrist for Aja Parham. She's definitely not happy with the call, and referees are going to issue the warning. But Parham definitely not happy with the call there from the three-point line.
That's 3 personal fouls also. So
yeah.
A bit frustrating for Parham, but that also puts Spartans in the penalty.
And this is what we said in the first quarter, John. Fouls are going to potentially play a big part in this game as well, because if you get some of your key players in foul trouble and you have to sit on the bench, I mean, that has big implications. I mean, Parham hasn't been shooting a lot of ball this game, but we know that when she's on fire, she's on fire. And she's going to be a key player for the Spartans coming into the second half. So if she picks up that next foul and has to sit on the bench for 5, 6, 10 minutes, that's going to be tough for the Spartans.
Well, she's also been guarding Nat Hurst for a majority of the game. We know Hurst has been going off, but Parham a great defender, and it'll be interesting to see if they switch that up, because you can't, like you said, you don't want to see Parham pick up her 4th in the first half.
Both free throws there made from Brown. And can I just say, Sunshine Coast Phoenix, they're shooting 13 from 13 from the free throw line. So 100% from the free throw line is not something you see all that often in the first half of basketball or against a whole game. So Phoenix doing a very, very good job of capitalizing on every single opportunity that they get given. They're shooting amazing percentages across the board.
They are doing a really good job, and free throw shooting is such a huge part of the game, especially in games like this where you know it's going to be a tight game throughout. Every point is going to count. If you can capitalize on your free throws, it puts you in good position to get a win, and that's the sign of a good team. Getting yourselves to the free throw line is one thing, but being able to convert those is another, and Phoenix doing a great job here this afternoon of doing that.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, 13 points from the free throw line versus only 4 from the Spartans in that category. So there's a 9-point differential right there. So it is really, really good to see the Phoenix capitalizing on every opportunity that they can get.
Well, Anderson's back on the floor for Spartans, shooting a deep 3. That hits nothing but the bottom of the net. And Ambrosia Anderson cuts the deficit to 2. She's having herself a great game as well. She's got 14 now.
Yeah, good to see Anderson back on the court. She's had a bit of a rest in this second quarter, but good to see her back out on the floor, because she is going to be a big, big player and very key in Spartans getting the win in this game if that's the way that it falls. So yeah. Good to see her firing on all cylinders once again.
We talked about Nat Hurst shooting the ball pretty well. Ambrosia Anderson is 5 of 6 from the field, 4 of 6 from deep. And here comes another one from Anderson, is a little short.
Yeah, a little bit of a heat check there. Wasn't able to get that one to fall. But good to see her shooting the ball, because she has been shooting really well so far in the game. So she's going to need to keep taking those shots if Spartans are going to see themselves getting the win. See Abby Bishop trying to spin inside with a nice little pickpocket there from behind from Bear. Goes coast to coast with a handoff to Anderson at the last minute for the layup inside. They draw the game at 47 apiece. We're 1 minute to go in the second quarter. This is going to be anyone's game going into halftime.
Great combination there from Bear to Anderson. A really nice athletic catch and finish by Anderson.
A good box out there for Spartans as well. Really putting body on the line. Curvin knocking Nat Hurst on her butt after the three-point shot. So good to get her out of action for a little bit while they bring the ball down as Abby Bishop fouls Anderson on the way to the bucket.
That's a good foul there by Abby Bishop. It was going to be a pretty easy layup opportunity there for Ambrosia Anderson. Bishop picking up her first personal foul. It's only the third team foul for the Phoenix, so make Ambrosia Anderson go to the free throw line and earn it from the charity stripe. I don't mind it from Bishop.
Anderson, yeah, absolutely airballing that first free throw. She can hit anything from deep just about, but can't hit the free throw. So that's unfortunate for Anderson.
Yeah, she's a good free throw shooter too. Shoots about 70%.
Makes the second though, makes up for that first airball. So it's 1 point lead now for Spartans. Just under 35 seconds to go in the second quarter. Phoenix with it now. There is a bit of a differential between the shot clock as well. Abby Bishop on the inside, unable to handle the pass. Ambrosia Anderson coming down with the steal. She pulls up. There's about 0.5 of a second difference between the shot clock and the game clock.
Yeah, Spartans, good recognition there from Spartans to hold. They're going to try and hold for the final shot of the half.
So Anderson jacks a rush three-point shot over the top of Hurst.
Yeah, that's definitely not what Spartans wanted there. Gives the Phoenix now an opportunity to get a shot off just under 5 seconds to go in the half.
And Nat Hurst with it, so she's going to step up for the three-point shot. Can't quite make it. And we go into the halftime. 1 point again, the lead for the Southern District Spartans. So they fought their way back in the second part of that half to get themselves up by a point yet again.
It was this is just a tremendous game. The offensive output certainly slowed down there in the second quarter, but the intensity levels from both teams maintained at that 110%. It was a great first half of action. Nat Hurst really carried the Phoenix in that first quarter. She slowed down a little bit in the second quarter, but I think Spartans are going to have to make sure they don't fall asleep and let her get warm again. But just a great offensive performance from both teams. It was a tight quarter, 17 all. This is going to be a tight one, Regan. Going into halftime, only a 1 point game. I can't imagine it's going to be much different all the way to the final.
No, I can't imagine it's going to be either. And Southern District Spartans really did a good job of shutting Nat Hurst down in that second quarter. She scored 17 points in the first quarter. She was limited to only 7 in the second. So they did a really good job of recognizing that she was on a firing streak, and they put a lot of pressure on her and prevented her from going on a 17-point run again in that quarter. So if Spartans are going to keep themselves in this game, they need to keep that defense up on Nat Hurst, but also down their own end of the court. They need to start taking a couple more smart shooting options and not rushing three-point shots like we just saw there from Anderson going into that quarter-time break.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a heat check from Anderson. She's been the Spartans' top offensive player in the in the first half. She's got 17 points, shooting a pretty efficient 60% and 50% from three. So you don't necessarily mind it. You just hope that she has a bit better recognition of where the game clock is. But Regan, exciting first half. I want to take a break because I'm going to have to rest up for a really even more exciting second half of action.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 1 point the difference going into the halftime, but we are going to take a break, and we're back with you shortly with more QBL Round 14 action between the Southern District Spartans and the Sunshine Coast Phoenix, presented by Nothing But Net Media. And back with you here as we bring you the QBL game of the week for round 14. It is the Southern District Spartans versus the Sunshine Coast Phoenix. It's a one-point game, and what a half of basketball it's been so far. Both teams shooting absolutely incredibly from the field, an incredibly high percentage as well. The Southern District Spartans coming into half-time have been shooting 40% from the field and a massive 31% from three-point as well. Sunshine Coast Phoenix just outdoing them percentage-wise. They're 43% from the field and 61% shooting from three. So both teams doing a great job so far in the first half. But, John, it all comes down to the second half. It's a one-point game. It's going to be a great second half of action. It's
going to be a tremendous second half of action, Regan. I think we were really treated to a phenomenal first half of action. We saw both teams get off to really super starts in the first quarter, and things kind of slowed down a bit. So I think the break came at an opportune time for both teams to kind of get their legs back underneath them. I think the team, though, to me, in the second half that's going to be able to pull away and pick up this win is going to be the team that can take care of the ball, manage their foul trouble, because neither team really in foul trouble. The only one with 3 fouls in the game is Aja Parham, but that's a huge 3 fouls because she's a key defender, but also organizer for them on the offensive end. I think it's going to be, again, it's a cop-out, but it's going to be a really close finish. I don't see either of these teams really pulling away to secure a win anytime early.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see straight out of the bat, a big three-point bomb there from Oba. So she takes the lead up to 2 points for the Phoenix early on. And it's going to be an interesting second half because when you look at the stat sheet and the way the game was played, the first quarter was all about offense and scoring some points. It was a 31-30 break in the first quarter, but the second quarter was all about defense. You know, both teams worked out who was scoring the points, what was happening offensively, and then they decided to readjust their defense and really set up a strong defensive position to prevent those breaks. So who knows how the team's going to come out in this third quarter, whether it's going to be offense heavy or defense heavy. We see Aja Parham on the break here, so she goes inside and flips one up for 2 points and getting the foul from Abby Bishop as well. But it is going to be a very interesting second half of basketball because the winning team, as you said, is going to be the team that can string together a strong offense, maintain a very good defensive position without getting in foul trouble, and limiting turnovers as well. They're going to have to piece a lot of things together to get themselves in the lead.
And that's just a great finish and take there from Aja Parham. There was a lot of contact on that one. They let the first bit of contact go, but then they got Bishop for the second round, I think when she went for the block. And then they get Dusty Oba for the offensive foul, swinging the elbow. That's Oba's third personal. It's also the third team foul, 45 seconds into the quarter. This could be a big opportunity for Spartans. I would expect them to start to look to be a little more aggressive, get to the rim, and really force the Phoenix into picking up those next 2 to put them in the penalty.
Yeah, it's definitely not the start that the Phoenix would have wanted. 3 fouls in the first 45 seconds of play is not a good position to be in. But again, great offensive movement and defensive from the Spartans as well, getting themselves in the right position to draw the foul and then obviously getting good defensive position to get that offensive foul as well. So Spartans are definitely here to try and get themselves in the lead in this third quarter. So let's see what they can piece together and if they can hold that position.
There's 8 on the shot clock now. Brown has to fire a 3. It's too strong.
Aja Parham, yeah, fighting for that rebound and coming down with it. She goes coast to coast and flips in a nice little easy one from inside.
Yeah, it's a good steal there from Parham. Looked like Oba was going to get the offensive rebound. She brought it down, but Parham stripped it and then able to go coast to coast, like you said, for the layup. Spartans coming out with some great energy here to start the third.
Yeah, absolutely. They're leading so far in terms of energy and performance in this third quarter. But, it's early days. We're only a minute and a half in, so it really is still anyone's game. The Sunshine Coast Phoenix just needing to settle things down a little bit and just play the way they played the first half of ball.
Hey, I want to just take this quick opportunity to give a shout-out to Phoenix fan Vinte checking us out on YouTube. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we love getting the feedback from you guys on the game chat. So definitely drop us a note while you're in there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good having people tune in, week out, especially with away games like this for the Phoenix. And we've got a lot of people tuning in, I've noticed, from Townsville as well, because, this game does have big finals implications, and it is leading into quarterfinals and semifinals. So there's a lot of other teams and a lot of people watching all over the state to try and see how this game ends up. So A lot of people tuning in, and we always do appreciate you guys checking out our feeds.
That was a slick bucket there from Ambrosia Anderson. Left-handed floater along the baseline. Rattles in, and now Spartans up 4, but Bishop answers on the other end with another lay-in for the Phoenix.
Yeah, and a great assist there for Saunders as well, just finding the open Bishop on the inside. Down the other end, though, Beck Haynes takes a long 3 from the top of the key, but that one's no good, as Saunders goes coast to coast from the rebound, losing control, and it turns the ball over.
A lot of people wanted the travel there. It wasn't, I think it just slipped out of her hands. I agree with the no call.
Yeah, to be defined as a loss of control, so you can't travel if you don't have control of the ball. But coming down the other end, and Ash Tyre going to work on the inside for the 2, so Spartans back up by 4.
Yeah, great finish there from Teo. She kind of lost it seemed a bit. Didn't really have great control, but able to gather control as she was going up and lay it in.
Yeah, as we've said in the past, it doesn't have to look pretty as long as it's effective.
Okay, comes into the game.
Aeneas Caravan checking in for Ambrosia Anderson. Spartans have a pretty, we talked about the depth that they have, but it's not just depth, it's depth and size as well. They're not all overly big, but they all have a nice height on them. You see Hurst miss her first 3-point attempt of the second half.
Yeah, not a good start from the shooting for Nat Hurst, but I'm sure she'll find some form very, very shortly, and she'll start hitting them again. And that looked way too easy there for the Spartans. Beck Haynes had just managed to bounce out. Abby Bishop coming down with the defensive rebound, and Nat Hurst on the run for the Phoenix. Oh, and that was just a beautiful pass on the inside and a great cut from Saunders to get to that open position. And again, the vision from Nat Hurst to see that little hook around pass, just all-around beautiful play there from Phoenix.
That's the 4th assist for Nat Hurst. She's not doing it just on with her shooting, but she's creating for her teammates as well.
And foul called there on Abby Bishop as well. So that's the 4th team foul. 3.5 minutes into the 3rd quarter for the Sunshine Coast Phoenix. So that is not a good position for them to be in. Every foul from here on in is going to go to the line. So Spartans with a really good opportunity to get some points on the board.
Well, not only that, but it's Bishop's 3rd personal, and she needs to be on the floor here. She can't risk picking up her 4th. She's got to be really careful on that side of the court.
Yeah, definitely so. And you notice there on that possession, marking Jess McDowell-White, she was very cautious and didn't play tough defense. And it's advantaged the Spartans as well because they put a couple of points on the board with a nice little shot from McDowell-White.
Turnover again there for Phoenix. They're starting to creep in a little bit. They're now up to 12 turnovers on the game.
Yeah, and there was great recognition there from Taya as well to get herself in the position to get the steal. They come down the other end, can't quite convert and get the ball in the bottom of the net. Phoenix with it. Hurst kicks up, and Brown can't finish it, but they come down with the offensive rebound.
That was a good hustle play there by Brown. She missed the layup attempt, but able to steal the offensive rebound, and another possession for the Phoenix.
Abby Bishop goes to work on the inside, flips up a finger roll, but that's a little bit too strong. And a lot of fighting over the ball as well. It does come down with the Phoenix. It was looking a little bit ugly there as Nat Hurst flips up a right-hand finger roll for 2.
That's just a great finish there by Hurst. And,
yeah, she really can get anything in, can't she?
She's been phenomenal this afternoon. Absolutely phenomenal.
And there's a timeout on the floor as well. Sunshine Coast Phoenix not real happy with what they're seeing out on the floor at the moment, so they're going to take a break. We're going to take one as well. We'll be back with you shortly with more QBL action presented by Nothing But Net Media. And back with you here. It's a 2-point game. The Southern District Spartans just sitting in the lead so far, but Sunshine Coast Phoenix, they're not going to be outdone. They're going to get themselves back into the game as well. And before we kick things off, just want to give a big shout out to one of our key sponsors, the Australian Sports Network. For any graphics work, everything you see on the screen here this afternoon is brought to you by the Australian Sports Network. So give them a like on Facebook. Hit up James if you ever need any graphics work done for your presentations. And back on the field with you here now, the Southern District Spartans almost turning the ball over. Jess McDowell-White, a big triple, but that hits nothing but the backboard.
Yeah, I think that was a good timeout for the Phoenix. Yeah, you look at the scoreboard, they're only down 2, but he plays, Coach Hauser plays his team big minutes, and he's got to get them as much rest where he possibly can. You could see Bishop had picked up that 3rd personal foul. Things were looking a little slow and sludgy a bit there for them, so give them a bit of a breather, pump them up a little bit, and get them back out there. They're only down 2.
As we see Bear take a 3-point shot for the Spartans. That one is no good, but a good defensive rebound for Berry for the Phoenix. Still only a 2-point game, and I think it was a very good time for the Phoenix to take that timeout as well, just to give them a little bit of an opportunity to regather themselves and work out what they're going to do offensively to try and get some more points on the board. I mean, Nat Hurst has had a couple of opportunities to take the 3-point shots, but they're really trying to focus going inside and getting the easier buckets.
Yeah, Spartan's doing a good job defending Bishop really well this afternoon, but she's really creative. She's taking it outside. She's rolling to the basket. As we see, Ash Taya hit a big 3-pointer to increase the lead to 5. But I think you got to get the ball in the hands of Abby Bishop. She's got to get a touch on every possession.
See a deep 2-point shot taken there by Berry. That one hitting nothing but the front of the rim.
And it was on the tip of my tongue to say we need to see Ambrosia Anderson back out there. And you see Ash Taya and Bear getting a breather. And Anderson and Parham come back in. And they need Anderson a little bit, I think, offensively. She's been their most consistent scorer this afternoon. She's a constant threat.
Yeah, absolutely. Anderson's been having a great game of basketball. She's sat on the bench a fair amount in the game so far, but when she is out on the floor, she is absolutely effective. So good move by the Spartans to bring her back out on the floor in the last couple of minutes in the 3rd, just to try and put a couple of extra points on the board to give them the edge leading into the 3rd.
Comes out firing right off the bench, misses that deep 3.
Yeah, it was a good look from Anderson, just a little bit too strong. But it's still a 5-point lead here for the Spartans. They've got themselves in a nice little position, just under 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. See Abby Bishop taking a very deep 3 of her own, that 2 off the front of the rim. Clancy with the offensive rebound, handed off to Hurst. Bishop again taking a 3-point shot, that 2 hitting the front of the rim. So the 3-point shot for the Phoenix not going quite the way they had hoped after having an amazing 3-point game in the first half. But here they go on the inside with Abby Bishop just pushing her way into the center of the key, making the bucket for 2. And they're going to get the foul on number 9 for the Spartans, so that'll go against Preston.
Yeah, Bishop was unsuccessful on a couple of 3s there, said stuff it, I'm getting to the rim. And she's pretty difficult to stop anywhere on the court, but you give her an opportunity to get that close to the basket, she's going to hurt you. Finishes plus the foul, so 3-point play opportunity here for Abby Bishop. And
Bishop's game is inside as well, so, I don't want to see her taking a 3-point game. That's Hurst's thing. Bishop needs to be getting inside because she's been shooting incredibly well on the inside. I mean, that there was her 10th from 10 free throw as well, so her benefit is being inside, getting her body in there as we see another 3-point shot from McDowell-White. But Bishop's game is inside. Well, she needs to be getting there every single time.
I agree with you in the sense that she's great from inside, Regan, but she's a really good 3-point shooter, and that expands the game and expands the opportunities that she has when she does go inside. She forces the defense to respect her outside shot, gives her that pump fake, also opens up the floor for her teammates if she can hit the deep shot. She hasn't been successful from deep so far this afternoon, but I guarantee you she's not going to stop shooting them.
I'm sure she will keep taking them. She's none from 2 from the 3-point line, but shooting really well from the inside. But I'm sure she'll keep taking them. As we come back down to Southern District's end of the quarters, Aja Parham hits another long 2 shot. They're going to call that one, sorry. But a very deep 2 from Aja Parham, taking the lead up to 7 points for the Spartans. So they've been putting all the stops in late in this 3rd quarter.
Yeah, the Spartans' 3-point shots are definitely starting to fall, and that just adds another dimension as Parham blocks Bishop. Good help defense there by Parham, but confidence is oozing here for the Spartans on the defensive and offensive ends.
Yeah, that was great help defense. Anderson just kept her position in front of Bishop. Parham comes from behind and just picks that shot away from her. And District's doing a really good job defensively to stop the Sunshine Coast Phoenix from getting any points on the board. I mean, the Phoenix have only scored 12 points this quarter, so the Spartans have been doing a very, very good job at limiting their opportunities to get any more points on the board, so very good job from them.
Spartans have been excellent defensively, and like I said, the three-point shot's starting to fall for Spartans, and it could be slowly slipping away here for the Phoenix. They need a bucket here in a pretty bad way with about 55 seconds to go in the third.
Yeah, desperately need some points on the board, so I'm sure Phoenix will line something up to get those couple of extra points. But either way, there's still one more quarter to go, and it really is still anyone's game, even if Spartans do end up on top this quarter. Cross-court kick there to Clancy. She finds Brown on the inside. Brown flips one up, and it bounces around and falls through. So desperately needed those points, but it's still a 5-point game where 30 seconds to go in the third.
That was just a beautiful cross-court pass there by Bishop, and nice creativity from Clancy as well, getting her feet in the paint and finding Brown along the baseline. Just a nice run set there from Phoenix.
And great defense there from Nat Hurst, getting her body in front of McDowell Wyatt, but Curvin getting the steal off Nat Hurst to put some couple of extra points on the board. So turnover after turnover advantages the Spartans. 3 seconds to go as Nat Hurst drives inside, fires one away, and it bounces to the bottom of the net. And we go into the three-quarter time break. Spartans have extended their lead to 5.
It was a frantic finish there. It looked like the Spartans were going to start to pull away. Phoenix responded pretty well, especially considering they turned it over on that possession where it looked like they were going to run in and have an opportunity on the offensive end. They turn it over, give up a quick bucket, but a great response there from Nat Hurst. It is only a 5-point deficit. Again, Regan, it is anybody's game. Spartans with the slimmest of leads heading into the final quarter of action.
Yeah, definitely. So it really is anyone's game here this afternoon. It could go any which way, but it's going to come down to defense because Spartans have come out showing that they've got the stronger defense at the moment. If they can keep playing that into the fourth quarter, that's going to give them the big advantage to get the win over the Phoenix. But that being said, it is three-quarter time. It's a 5-point game. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with you again shortly with the fourth quarter, and there's awesome a QBL Game of the Week between the Southern District Spartans, the Sunshine Coast Phoenix, presented by Nothing But Net Media. And back with you here. It's a 5-point ball game. The Southern District Spartans extending their 1-point lead into the first and second quarters. They're up by 5 in the third. We got one more quarter of basketball to go. And John, what a quarter ball it's going to be.
It's going to be an exciting quarter for sure. Let's take a quick look at the statistics for the Spartans. Leading the way on the score sheet is Ambrosia Anderson. She's got 19 points on 7 of 12 shooting. Aja Parham's got 12. Jess McDowell White with 13 huge points off the bench. Ash Taya has 10. They're shooting 42% are the Spartans from the field, 32% from three. They really heated up from deep in that third quarter as Parham fouled on her way to the bucket on the first possession of the quarter for the Spartans.
Yeah, and if we're looking down the other end of the court, the Sunshine Coast Phoenix, they're shooting a 40% clip from the field. They're 20 from 50, but shooting a very impressive 47% from deep. They're 9 from 19 from three-point land. They're led by Nat Hurst on 28 points. Also got 4 assists, followed by Abby Bishop on 16. Shooting 10 from 10 from free throws, which is pretty damn incredible. She's also got 9 boards and 4 assists.
Yeah, Bishop not having the success from the field per se because she's only 3 of 13. But like you said, making up for it, getting to the free throw line and hitting 10 of 10. That's pretty decent clip.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Doesn't get any better, does it?
No, not when it's double figures, 100% shooting clip. The lead now up by 7 for the Spartans, so they're straight out of the gate. There's a lot of contact on the inside as players bustling for position. Going to see Obar take a deep 3, but that clips the front of the rim. Anderson coming down with the defensive rebound for the Spartans.
Yeah, not the best choice of shots there from Obar. She's shown she could hit the 3. But as I said earlier in the third quarter, I'd like to see Phoenix. They got to make sure that they get touch to Bishop and Hurst on every single possession.
And that was a great pass there from Curvin, getting Beck Haynes straight under the bucket. And she just made it look way too easy.
According to the in-house announcer, it was a pass. We'll credit Curvin for that one.
With the Phoenix now, great offensive movement around the outside as we see Clancy sacrificing her body on the inside to kick it out to Nat Hurst, who fires the 3.
And it's a great look there from Clancy. She was a little out of control. The pass luckily found its way to Hurst, and Hurst wide open, has plenty of time to set her feet, and nails the 3.
And then Parham once again going to drive strong on the inside to try and fire away an inside layup. She draws the foul. They're going to call this one against Obar. And Aja Parham again going to find herself at the line for 2.
Yeah, good job by the referees also. Bishop wasn't happy with the call. Let out a bit of a frustration there. The referees just went over to Abby and let her know.
Yeah.
All right, calm down. We don't want to tech you up or do anything. So.
And I like that.
Yeah,
so
it's good communication.
Especially, 8 minutes to go in what is going to be a very, very close game. It has finals implications. It is a big game of basketball. The last thing you want to see is the game ruined by technical fouls. Bishop's been warned twice now. She got angry after her 3rd personal foul. She's just arced up again then. Realistically now, if the game ends in an Abby Bishop technical foul, there's nothing the referees could have done to prevent that because she's been warned twice. And I'd like to see that because that way you can't hold the referees accountable for that.
Yeah, they've certainly given her plenty of rope.
Nice scramble from the Spartans.
And speaking of Bishop, that 3-point shot from her, no good. The Spartans coming down with the rebound after a bit of a scrap. And Beck Haynes goes inside to Aja Parham. Parham's going to take on Brown. Step back jump shot. It's no good, a little bit too strong.
Love that one-handed rebound there by Bishop. And again, they're not going to slow her down. She goes right inside, now out. I thought Saunders was going to take that one. That was a good look for her.
It was definitely a good look on the 3-point shot. I don't mind her not taking it, though. She had probably 12 feet of space, but I much prefer that result there with Clancy finding her way inside to flip one up for 2, because Phoenix are really going to have to start taking the smart shots at the moment. And Saunders is a great player. She hasn't had a lot of success from the 3-point line this season, so I much prefer to see that easier shot taken on the inside because they need to be very, very efficient in this last quarter.
Oh, they were efficient defensively on that possession, getting a stop. Now Hurst fires the 3. It's an air ball out of bounds off the hands of Brown.
Yeah, Nat Hurst definitely not happy with herself at the moment. That air ball 3-point shot. She's not happy with herself. She doesn't air ball them often.
And don't forget, we will have the matchup, the men's matchup for you shortly after the conclusion of this exciting women's game. Should be another exciting matchup. Spartans and Phoenix. I'm expecting a few points to be scored in that one.
Just a few, yeah. I would not be surprised if both teams don't make it into the triple digits or at least very close to the triple digits. But back on the game here, McDowell White's 3-point shot, no good, and neither is Beck Haynes' putback. But again, the Spartans just really working hard on those offensive rebounds, and Ash Tyre making them pay as she drains a triple. They take the lead out to 8. Abby Bishop now on the inside. She spins and flips one up for 2, and Kiervin's going to pick up the foul. So again, Abby Bishop really going to work on the inside and showing just what she's made of underneath.
That's just a tough move there from Bishop. She got great position, used her footwork to get to the baseline, and then scoops it up with the long arms and the finger roll. And Bishop going to work here in the 4th.
Yeah, if Phoenix, look, they're playing a good game of ball. I think one big thing that they need to work on at the moment is their rebound, because the Spartans just picked up 3 offensive rebounds in a row to put a triple point on the board. Phoenix need to do better than that. You can't give up 3 offensive rebounds in one passage of play, because more often than not, that's definitely going to lead to points. So they need to get their bodies on the line and actually box out to pull some defensive boards, because Spartans are absolutely killing them in the rebound chase so far.
Spartans have 18 offensive rebounds in this one, and they're up. If you look at the overall numbers, the rebound total is 44 to Phoenix, 43 to Spartans. Let's tell you, jeez, that was nearly at half court. It was in between half court and the three-point line to give Spartans the 8-point lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Taya's really found some form in this fourth quarter from three-point line. Ball back to Bishop on the inside. Bit of a bump from behind from Curvin. They're going to get the second foul on Curvin right out on the three-point line as the referees give a warning to the assistant coach for the Spartans.
Yeah, he's letting them go. I have to give credit to the referees here. They're doing a really nice job of communicating to the benches, not overreacting to things like that. We've seen a few quick tees. We don't want to see that and affect the outcome of this game.
No, absolutely not. This game needs to be decided by the players, and you don't want to give anyone any reason to question the result. And they've done a really, really good job the entire game to control the game and the coaches and the emotions as well, because this is an emotional game for both teams because there are big implications on the line. So massive shout out to the referees doing a great job out on the floor. But again, it's all about the players, and boy, have they been playing a great game. It's still 8 points. District's in the lead as Bear tries to go to work on the inside. Clancy coming down with it. She's going to slow things up a little bit and drive all the way to the bucket, flips it up through a lot of contact, and defensive boards pulled by Spartans.
Yeah, it was a tough there from Clancy. Certainly looked like there was a lot of contact, but she was a bit out of control. And referees, again, doing a good job letting that one go. I don't mind that. When you're a little bit out of control, you kind of don't mind that no call.
Yeah, no, definitely not. In that situation, Clancy did cause a lot of that contact. She drove through the middle of two players. Yeah, it's tough to call a foul on that kind of situation. But there's a turnover on the floor. Jess McDowell-White, a little bit of miscommunication with Bear. But there is a timeout on the floor. We're going to take a break as well. It's 8 points of difference. Spartans in the lead, but don't go anywhere. And back with you here. It's an 8-point ball game as Southern District Spartans extending their lead up to 8 points at 79-71. There's 5 minutes to go, but it is still anyone's ball game, John. There is nothing stopping the Phoenix from getting themselves back in front in this one.
Yes, Phoenix are not necessarily, I won't say that they're in trouble here, Regan, but they haven't been able to claw their way back into this one. They're down 8. And the well has dried up a little bit. Hurst has really quieted down offensively, and Spartan's doing a good job forcing Bishop to work extensively to get a look.
Yeah, definitely so. Phoenix, they do have a little bit of work to do in the fourth here. I definitely wouldn't say it's out of their hands. They can easily make their way back in, getting themselves in front. But they've got to do a better job offensively in finding open opportunities and just converting the buckets. I mean, they're doing a good job for the most part defensively, as we see Aja Parham drive baseline and put the ball in the bottom of the net. But offensively, they just need to make a couple more quick passes and look for the right opportunities.
Caitlin Clancy looked like she got hit. Might be a bit of a concussion. She doesn't look in really good shape. She looks like it's an ankle, actually. I thought she knocked heads on a cutter coming across the court. But it does look like it's a pretty bad ankle injury. She just can't put any pressure on it. And that's how Parham got open. Clancy was guarding Parham, and due to the injury, Clancy just couldn't keep up with her. Had to go down. And the trainer out there tending to Clancy. Just having a bit of a chat. I thought it was a bit of a concussion, but she's up. She's going to have to be helped off the court. Let's hope it's nothing too serious, but with 4:30 to go in this game, I don't expect to see Caitlin Clancy again.
Yeah, no, I'm not too sure whether it is an ankle or whether it is a concussional worry, because she seemed to walk on her ankle somewhat okay just then coming off, so not too sure, but hopefully she is okay. She's having a chat to the trainer now. She's looking a little bit more alert, so fingers crossed everything is okay with Caitlin Clancy. But back out on the floor now, the Phoenix, they're down 10. They got some work to do. The ball's with Abby Bishop on the inside.
Good hands there by Ashtaya. Tipping the pass out of bounds. We've seen Bishop with that cross-court pass a couple times. That time was a little short.
Nat Hurst with now top of the keyway. The shot clock rolls down into single digits, so Phoenix needing to get to work here. We got 4 to shoot. Abby Bishop has it. Turns around, notices a shot clock, fires off a very wild, deep two-point shot, but somehow manages to find the net.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity there for Bishop. She was forced into it and able to convert.
Except now they've got to do work down the other end. They need to stop the Spartans from putting some points on the board. So all well and good, they got those points on the bucket, but now they need to back up and play some strong defense. And they do exactly that. Bear taking a bit of a wild shot. And that no good for them. So Phoenix doing a good job defensively to prevent the points, but now they need to go back-to-back and score again.
And you see Parham with the over-aggressive defense. Getting the contact there on Bishop. That's her 4th personal. It's the 3rd team foul for the Spartans with about 3:30 to go in the game. So at the moment, fouls not really a factor, but they're slowly creeping towards it.
Yeah, definitely so. And shot clock down to single digits again, but Ambrose with the nice, quick, active hands gets the steal. And the foul's going to be called here on Natalie Saunders. And that's going to be the 4th team foul as well. So again, the Phoenix finding themselves in a little bit of foul trouble, so they're going to be sending the Spartans to the foul line from here on in. It's not a good position for them to be in when they're down.
It's only the 3rd.
They were very quick to put that up on the board then.
They sure are, yeah. But if I'm Phoenix, they gotta run something here to get Nat Hurst going. I know I've mentioned a few times running things through Bishop, but you can't forget about Nat Hurst. They're not running anything for Nat Hurst. She's kind of been forgotten here a bit.
Oh, there's a nice move there from behind. Bear getting her hands on the back of the shot. So Romy Bear again doing a great job defensively to get the block. They are going to get a foul after the fact for Romy Bear though. So Phoenix going to pick it up on the base.
And again, I think Bishop really looking to force the issue, which you don't necessarily mind. But they cannot forget about Nat Hurst. Nat Hurst carried them in that first half. She's been really quiet here in the second half. And, you got to give a bit of credit to the Spartans defense, but Phoenix not really running anything to get Hurst open looks. And then they turn it over again. Turnover is hurting the Phoenix here this afternoon. That's their 15th. And you see Spartans capitalizing on the other end.
Yeah, Anderson making that look way too easy on the inside for the 2. So Phoenix starting to find themselves in a little bit of trouble here as they turn the ball over again. So Romy Bear is going to go coast to coast with the steal and putting the points on the board. It's a 14-point lead now for the Spartans, and Phoenix, they're finding themselves in trouble.
Well, they're definitely in trouble now, Regan. 2 minutes to go, they're down 14. If it's going to happen for the Phoenix, it needs to happen now.
Yeah, they need to find some spark because they're leaving it very, very late to get themselves back into it. There's only 2 minutes to go. Abby Bishop's jump shot, no good. So it's not a good position for the Phoenix at the moment. They're going to need to get to work very shortly. Nat Hurst, they need to run something to get her open to take some of those 3 bombs that she was hitting early on.
And they also need to get stops like they did there. They need a bucket on this possession or it's all but over for the Phoenix.
Yeah, definitely so. Nat Hurst trying to do things herself, turns the ball over.
Comes up with a loose ball.
as Nat Hurst exchanging words with the Southern District's bench. So things are starting to get a little bit fiery here late into the game. But I think 1 minute 20 to go. I think it's over, John. The Spartans just coming out firing in this fourth quarter as Ash Tyre again, it goes to work from deep, draining another triple. It's gone from a 5-point game to a 17-point game. The Spartans absolutely on fire.
Yeah, Spartans just a bit too much. There's a lot of players on the court. I think they thought it was a timeout. It is a timeout taken there by the Phoenix. It's a bit too late, though, I think, for Phoenix here. Minute 14 to go, 17 down. And this is what we talked about in the pregame, though, Regan. Spartans are a deep team. They go, they play 10 players, and they really wore down the Phoenix. Phoenix able to hang with them for 3 quarters, but you see Spartans pulling away in the fourth. Just a little bit too much depth and talent for the Phoenix this afternoon.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And I think it does come down to the fact that they are such a deep team because they've got a wealth of players that can come off the bench. They can play some really important minutes for them. Whereas your Sunshine Coast Phoenix, you've got Bishop, Brown, and Hurst all playing the entire game with no rests other than the timeouts on the floor. And despite the fact that they're all incredible athletes, that is tiring. Nat Hurst came out scoring 17 points in the first quarter. In the following 2 and 3 quarters, she's only managed to put on an extra 14. So it really does wear you down playing that much ball. And it is a very, very tough game out there for these girls. But Spartans just had it in them to make it, to make it through the 4 quarters of basketball. And that's what's got them in the lead to this point.
You look at the rankings now, and this one will secure that at a minimum the 4th spot here for Spartans, and they'll draw even records-wise with Southwest for 3rd. So yeah. Interesting finish to the season. We're going to see who does what and where by the end of next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is going to make it quite interesting moving forward. So the Spartans will tie, essentially, in terms of for and against, with Southwest Metro, both having a record of 13-3. So depending on who gets their wins over the next couple of weeks, I mean, Southwest, they've got a couple of tough road trips coming up, so they could find themselves in a little bit of trouble, dropping back down to 4th if the districts have a good couple of games. So 3rd and 4th position, absolutely up for grabs. Sunshine Coast Phoenix, they'll end on a record of 12-4, so they could potentially drop down into possibly not. They might stay in 5th position for the rest of the season as well. They've played 1 less game than 6th place, which is the Rocky Cyclones. So it really is a very, very interesting ladder, and their next weekend is going to be all important to see what happens.
You look ahead to next weekend, and as you said, Pirates are on the road to Mackay on Friday night. Sunshine Coast Phoenix doing that north double, taking on Townsville Friday night. And then both of those teams back up Saturday. You've got Southwest at Rocky on Saturday, and then Sunshine Coast Phoenix at Cairns on Saturday. So 2 tough road trips for those 2 teams. And Spartans are back home next weekend. We've got that Spartans game on Sunday.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting then because 3rd and 4th position is very much up in the air between Southwest Metro and the Brisbane Spartans. So who knows where we're going to end up for quarters, semis, and finals. But bringing it back to the game here, we ended up with a 17-point game. The Southern District Spartans putting everything on the line in the 4th quarter to really drag things away from the Phoenix to get themselves an amazing win in a game of basketball that really did come down to that 4th quarter.
It was the 4th quarter. It was a single-digit game from the 1st quarter through to the 3rd. You see those Spartans winning that 4th quarter 24-12 to push out to that 17-point lead. It was a great performance there from the Sunshine Coast Phoenix. They just couldn't do it for 4 quarters.
And just keeping an eye on things down on the floor, Nat Hurst really taking it at the Southern District's bench. Referee's trying to get in between to break things up, but Hurst is really taking it at them. That's not something you want to see after a game is already over, for the players to go and attack the bench. I mean, that's not good sportsmanship coming from Nat Hurst.
There was a lot of chatter from the bench and Coach Rebecca Lewis between Beck Lewis and Nat Hurst. Nat Hurst usually pretty cool, calm, and collected, so we can't put the full blame on Nat Hurst because we don't know what happened, but Rebecca Lewis definitely not backing down either, and you can see the referees having a chat as well with Nat Hurst. It's an unfortunate way to end the game because it was a great game of basketball, but for the teams, it's a tough loss for the Phoenix. It's dropping them out of the top 4, and going away next weekend to a double between Mackay and Rockhampton is going to be 2 really, really tough games for Sunshine Coast Phoenix. And the Spartans are going to wrap their season up next Sunday with the North Gold Coast Seahawks, which is a game that we'll be streaming for you live on Sunday next weekend. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sunshine Coast, they're not completely out of action at the moment. I mean, if they get 2 wins next week, a couple of big wins on the road, and the Southern District Spartans go down, or Southwest goes down, they could still find themselves getting up there, but it really is a completely open ladder at the moment. But that does wrap things up for the stream here this afternoon, John. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. It's always a pleasure having you tuning in and watching an amazing game of basketball live with us. But don't forget that we are back here again next week covering the Spartans versus the North Gold Coast Seahawks. It's going to be an amazing game. It is the last round of the regular season before we move into quarters, semis, and finals. And don't forget, we will bring you 1 game each in the quarters and the semis, and then all 3 games in the grand final for both the men's and the women's. So there is a lot more amazing basketball to come up. But that wraps things up for us here in the Women's QBL Game of the Week. But stick around, because we got the men's game coming up for you shortly, and that's going to be another amazing game. Got to give a shout out to Chris Sieber on the camera helping us out, John Guana and myself, Regan Baker, James Bowman down in Sydney for all the work that you do. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you again shortly.